We dispatched our Texas Rangers to assist with the shooting investigation, and ultimately the Rangers have taken over the lead in the investigation. In addition, we had our SRT teams, aircraft, and now to this point we have our victim services counselors on the ground. I will tell you that Governor Abbott, through my director, Steve McCraw, reached out immediately and said, whatever needs to be done to support the city of Allen in this horrific time, to do it. All state resources have been committed to this effort. The Texas Rangers have been tasked and been put in lead in this investigation. It's a very large crime scene, very complex investigation spanning multiple jurisdictions. And the Rangers, along with the local law enforcement agency, Allen PD, and our federal partners, particularly FBI and ATF, are working hand in hand to get the answers. You know, many of the answers are still away from getting to, but some things we do know. We have processed the crime scene. As the chief was saying, and the SAC was saying, we've released the parking lot, 1,100 vehicles. I mean, it was a big scene. We had to clear it. And we've done it in pretty record time. If you think about it, you're only talking less than 72 hours ago this event was occurring. And to be this far down the road, I think, is very commendable on the part of all the parties involved. The cooperation between the agencies has been exceptional, and I think it's a model for the way things should be done in the future. One thing that we do know is after we've identified the shooter, and his name has been made public, he's from the Dallas area, so the FBI, Dallas PD assisted. We ran warrants down on his residence, his actual parents' house, and I believe hotel residence, to see what evidence we could glean from that. The FBI has his computers, cell phones, and other evidence, and they're in the process of trying to do digital forensics, as the SAC mentioned, to go ahead and ascertain what type of evidence we can get off of that. The shooter had no CCH, no criminal history, so he had no documentable criminal history on him. He was in the U.S. Army, and that's been posted on the media, in 2008. He was in basic training. I think early on in basic training they realized, from what I've seen, that he was not a fit for the Army, and so they separated him from the Army, before he got out of the training mode. There were some questions, about his fitness for duty. That information will be forthcoming later on as we dig into the investigation. He also had a private security license in the state of Texas. Again, he had no criminal history, and the license has expired. I understand he worked as a security guard for several firms, but he was not an active security guard at the time of this. He had 8 weapons with him. He had 3 on his person, and he had 5 in his vehicle. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms has run traces on all the weapons. All of the weapons were legally obtained by the shooter. None of them were stolen, anything else. And now we're running checks on them to see if they were using any crimes. But at this time, we haven't uncovered anything in that regard.
So he's saying legal gun owners are killing people, and it's not just people getting guns illegally?
The big question that we're dealing with right now is, what's his motive? Why did he do this? Well, the big question is, we don't know. That's what the investigation is trying to find out. We do know that he had neo-Nazi ideation. He had patches, he had tattoos, even his signature, verified that. That's one thing we do know. We are trying to get into his computer and on social media and find out, whether he had anything that he'd publicized or been out. We're looking around, we're seeing trying to find what he looked at, and trying to get every information we can. This is the ongoing part of the investigation, and we have a situation that once we figure that out, hopefully we figure that out and get definitive about it, we can go public with that down the road. To me, it looks like he targeted the location rather than a specific group of people. He was very random in the people he killed. It didn't matter the age, same race or sex. He just shot people, and which is horrific in itself. As I said before, the investigation is ongoing. The Texas Rangers, FBI, ATF, and Allen PD, as well as any other agencies assisting us, are going to leave no stone unturned to try to identify this motive and try to find out whatever we can. At this time, we think he acted alone. There's no indication he had any Confederates or anybody working with him, but we're also keeping an open mind in that regard too, because you never know. As the FBI SAC mentioned, our victim services, the state of Texas Victim Services, working hand in hand with the city of Allen and the FBI to try to assist these victims to get on the road to getting their lives back to normal. You know, so we're doing what we can, and the information that you need to contact is there. There's also, the state of Texas has a crimes victim compensation fund, and we're also trying to plug the people, the victims, into that to help them get their lives right. Okay. With that, that's all I'm going to brief on right now. Again, the investigation is ongoing, but I will take a couple of questions.
Would you consider this an act of domestic terrorism considering his racist ideology?
Well, it's too early to say that for sure. You know, I mean, obviously, circumstantially, you might say something like that, but we need to get more into his ideology, get into his social media, and see more than we have.
Can you confirm that there is a website out there that he has posted the pictures of him with the swastika tattoo and some of his notes and his ideology?
I know there's a website out there. I haven't personally seen it. I know the FBI and the Texas Rangers are looking into that, and that's another part of the investigation we're looking at.
Director, can I ask if at this point there's been any kind of manifesto or anything like that that you have found in his belongings?
Not to my knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You understand that he works for private security agencies before. Did he ever work for Allen Premium Outlets?
Not to my knowledge. I don't have the names of the companies he worked for, and I don't know if he worked at that location. He hasn't worked in the security business for a while.
But we don't know, you know for sure he did not.
I do not know 100% where he worked.
Yes, sir. Do you have been able to build a timeline of how long the event lasted, and whether or not all of the victims were being shot by this suspect?
So I believe the event was like 3 to 4 minutes from the time that the first shots were fired. I think it was 3:37 or something like that. And we're looking at, I think within 3 or 4 minutes, the Allen PD officer had neutralized the suspect, and the shooting stopped. And there's no indication anybody else was shooting besides him and the officer.